And hello everybody, welcome to this week's video, and this is going to be a WWE-centric video, specifically one centered on a major topic of discussion going on right now as it pertains to Roman Reigns' championship reign and who should end it. I think a lot of us, myself included, assume that the plan was Cody versus Roman 2, Electric Boogaloo at WrestleMania 40, with Cody finally finishing the story and winning the championship. I felt he should have won it at 39. I think everything that they've done with Roman since WrestleMania 39 has kind of just been a wet blanket that has become less and less interesting over time, which I feared would happen. And, I don't care so much about, because the major talking point now is that, is Roman going to beat Hulk Hogan's longest championship reign record? And I'm like, dude, records are made to be broken. I'm not overly concerned with that and preserving records, because like I said, records are made to be broken in a lot of cases. I just don't care about Roman as champion anymore. And my honest concern is that, is the play that they're going to have him go for Bruno's? Is that the play? Is that what they're doing right now? They're going to have him go for Bruno's record? Because if that's the case, I don't know if I can handle much more of Roman as champion, and that legitimately terrifies me that's ultimately what the play is. But I can't speak for everybody. I don't pretend to speak for everybody, but I personally am sick and tired of Roman Reigns as champion, and this is coming from a guy who was red hot on Roman last year, and I thought everything was just perfectly set up for him to take the fall at Mania 39, and they didn't take it, and I was like, uh-oh. And everything since then has just been diminishing returns, unfortunately, and it got to a point where guys that get over, I almost don't want them to cross paths with Roman like an LA Knight, because I don't want them to have to eat that loss. And it's like, I'd rather not have them go against Roman, just let LA Knight keep doing whatever it is he's doing and staying over. Please don't let him anywhere near Roman, but and potentially do any damage to him. Let's not do that, please and thank you. And that's the situation we're in right now. And but a lot of us assumed that it was going to be Cody and Roman at WrestleMania. CM Punk came back and kind of threw a monkey wrench into the whole situation, where now we're all assuming that Punk is going to win the Royal Rumble. I've heard speculations that Punk and Cody are going to do the Bret and Luger 94 thing and then set up a match in February. Or, one's going to win the Rumble, one's going to win an Elimination Chamber. Cody gets Roman, Seth gets Punk, and that's how it's going to go. But again, we'll just have to all wait and see. But then The Rock made a surprise return at Raw, the New Year's Raw, and called out the head of the table, the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. And now it's like, okay, is it going to be Rock and Roman at WrestleMania? Is it going to be Rock and Roman in February? And then it's Cody Roman 2 at WrestleMania? Like, how exactly is this all going to play out? I think, given Rock's star power, the inclination is to think that he's going to be at WrestleMania and have a big match with Roman. That would be kind of the more, I guess, how do I want to phrase this? That would be kind of the short-term goal, get the big payday out of Rock and generate some interest in, WrestleMania is the biggest stage, and you want your biggest stars on the biggest stage and do the Rock and Roman match. But and Rock and Roman is a big match. I'm not saying it's not. My concern is that, like, what's the potential outcome of it? Like, Rock can't beat Roman because you can't put the belt on him, because then he just goes away. And it's like, okay, then what? And then are you going to take away Cody's spot? Because then where does that leave Cody for WrestleMania? I don't know. I remember last year speculating that it might be Sami and Roman and Cody and Roman, one's night one and the other's night two. That ultimately didn't happen, and that idea was shot down to me. And I forget who I was talking to that said this, is like, Roman is not going to pull double duty. And it's like, yeah, that's not, that's a possibility that I don't feel is on the table. But, there's a lot of different things they could do with this. I've even heard speculations that Roman might lose the title at the Royal Rumble by not getting pinned, which sets him up for Rock, and then Cody can win the title off of somebody else. I think that would be a lackluster way of doing things. I mean, you put all this effort and all this time and all this energy into Roman Reigns. Somebody's got to beat him at some point. Otherwise, what's the point? So if he gets out of this four-way match, losing the title without getting pinned, that would be a complete waste of Roman's title reign and a complete a very anticlimactic way of having that championship reign end. Now, I mean, I personally am at the point where they could do that and I'd almost be okay with it because I'm just sick of Roman as champion at this point. And if they did it, I'd go, oh, thank God he's not the champion anymore. Hallelujah. We'll fix it later and we'll figure it out moving forward. But if that's the case, who would win the four-way? Would it be Orton? Would it be LA Knight? Would it be? I don't think it's going to be LA Knight because I'm almost 100% certain that he's going to be the one that faces Logan Paul at WrestleMania for the U.S. title. Would it be AJ? I don't see AJ being the guy either. So I don't know. It'd be weird in any of those cases to have any of them win the championship. LA Knight honestly would be the best pick. Because of how over he is. And Orton's got a new fresh coat of paint on him because he was gone for so long. So maybe Orton might work, but I don't know. And there's a lot of uncertainty all around it. And WrestleMania is still shaping up to be pretty interesting with all the guys that have come back and all the potential matchups that could create. But with Roman, it's just such a weird thing that they have to account for now where it's like, what do they got to do? How's this all going to play out? Are they going to postpone Cody's ultimate victory and save it for later in the year or maybe next year's WrestleMania or something? And if so, what is Cody going to do at WrestleMania? Like work with Nakamura? Is that a big match for him? Feels like kind of like a demotion. I don't know. And Just Alex, who's a great guy, great guy, one of the best wrestling YouTubers on here. He started at the same time I did and is massively successful and is a wonderful guy. He's talked about, the money is in the chase. We had a discussion about it over DMs and things. And I agree with that. I'm the type of guy that likes the long heel championship reigns because I think you can tell better stories with that. And a lot of times the money is in the chase. I just feel like there's also, striking the iron when it's hot. And if Cody doesn't come out of WrestleMania again with the title, it's like fans are going to start losing faith in him and start kind of viewing him as lesser than. I think back to SummerSlam 93 and Jim Cornette's comments on it where it's like, well, Luger's going to win the title because if he doesn't, he's going to look like a plate full of piss. And then Luger didn't win the title in one of the strangest finishes in the history of pay-per-view. And it's like he's celebrating even though he didn't win the title and he can't get another title shot per the stipulation of the contract. So it was this weird half measure thing that they took and it kind of undercut Luger. Among, other things like trying to make him Hulk Hogan 2.0, which wasn't going to work for him. But it's still like a huge misstep that they took with Luger's character instead of striking the iron when it was at its hottest with him. And I also think back to TNA with Samoa Joe where they had Angle beat him. And then Joe finally won at Lockdown 08. And by that point, it kind of felt like, yeah, it's cool. Joe's got the belt, but it kind of felt like it was too late by that point. It felt like they had done Angle and Joe as a match too many times by that point. They'd already had 5 pay-per-view matches, including that one. And by that point, I was just kind of like, I'm kind of tired of Angle and Joe, to be honest with you. But they kind of, they kind of wasted their opportunity there. And yeah, it's cool they put the belt on it, but it was probably too little too late by that point. So I don't want them to get to that point with Cody because they had something really hot and interesting with Cody. And I don't know if throwing it away just to give that spot to The Rock and then trying to figure out a plan B with Cody is the way to go. I also don't think that, if you have The Rock available, use him and find a big match for him. But maybe you can do Rock and Roman in February. And I don't know. Is Rock going to be available for WrestleMania? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out if Cena's going to have a role at WrestleMania because I felt like they had some kind of a plan with him where it's like, I haven't won a match in 9 years or however long it's been, 2,000 days or 3,000 days or whatever it is. And it's like, I got to win a match. And they're going to give John Cena a WrestleMania match where he finally wins. Perfect opponent for that situation, by the way, Dominic Mysterio. That would be my pick. If you want to tell that story with Cena, that would be the best one to go with. I think Dominic Mysterio versus Cena, where Cena finally gets a win, I think would be. Because Dominic is that type of heel where you want to see him get beat up, and it's fun to watch him get beat up, and it's fun to watch him lose. And he doesn't lose his heat from getting beat. He's a very valuable heel in that regard. He's kind of like a modern day Buff Bagwell. And, I know a lot of people kind of look down on Buff Bagwell, and I'm like, nah, Buff was pretty hateable guy with a punchable face, and he was pretty valuable in the role that they gave him. And I think Dominic Mysterio has that same kind of, like, you just look at him, you want to punch him in the face, and you have that kind of character. That's pretty valuable, especially if you want to tell a story like Cena wants to get his first win in 3,000 days or whatever. I think there's potential there to do that match, and I think it could work. So if that is a storyline that they have in place for WrestleMania, I think Dominic Mysterio is the perfect candidate for a match like that. But in any case, WrestleMania season is interesting. A lot of people are getting mad at the possibility of Cody getting dropped, but I think adding Rock to the mix adds an extra layer of intrigue to things where you don't know exactly how things are going to play out. And I think that is very, very interesting, and we'll just have to wait and see. And it keeps me at least plugged into the WWE storylines and programming, just to see how it's all going to play out and what's going on. And that's a good thing. Will it all end up being satisfying come WrestleMania time? I hope so. I'm hoping that Roman is no longer the champion by WrestleMania 40, because if he makes it out of WrestleMania 40 still the champion, and if it's him in Rocket Mania, it's like, I know Roman's going to win, because it's like there's no way Rock's going to walk out with the belt. And if he does, it's what do you do with that? Like, why would you put all those years into Roman just to give it to a guy who hasn't wrestled in over a decade? I was there for Rock's last match, WrestleMania 29. To date no, wait, I take that back. He had that stupid match at 32 with Eric Rowan that nobody remembers. But it's just a very tough situation, and I don't want to see them squander something potentially good. And again, I'm kind of on my last legs with Roman, so if he comes out of Mania 40 as still the champion, that's going to be like a determining factor of me, like, I think I'll give up on WWE for a while. I think I can take a break and, wait until they freshen things up a little bit. And again, I've said it before, WWE programming right now is better than it has been in the last decade or so. It's better, but the Roman thing is really, really getting stale, and I think that they could come up with something more interesting. I think they've gotten about as much out of that as they can, personally, that to the point where they can keep me intrigued, at least personally. I can't speak for everybody, but part of me feels like if I'm getting sick of it, what are other people thinking? I don't know, but we will have to wait and see. So, got a quick video out there today. This is, for me, 13 minutes is pretty short, but that is all I have for you today. Thanks again, everybody, for watching and listening. I will have a special Royal Rumble video up next week. I'm really excited about that one, and be sure to check that one out. But for right now, that is all I have for you now. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you all later.